Hi everyone, Susanna Song here. Thank you so much for taking time to watch this video. Well, we have a special guest that I would love to introduce you to. She is the 2022 Sijo winner, Katie Yen. Hi, Katie.
Hi there. It's so nice to speak with you, Susanna.
And Katie, where are you calling in from?
I'm calling in from the Ozarks. It's cold, sunny, and beautiful here today.
Well, I'm jealous because we are here in Chicago and right in the heart of winter, right in the middle of the cold, snowy, blustery weather out here. So I'm jealous. Well, Katie, first of all, how did you learn about Shijo?
Yeah, I've been trying to remember where I first heard about it because I am a writer and I do look at so many websites with resources such as contests. So I want to say that probably one of those websites, maybe Fun for Writers, was the first place that I heard about the Shijo contest. And it actually wasn't for this past cycle, but for a couple of years ago, probably in 2020 in the pandemic when I found myself suddenly with a lot more time to write.
Yeah, so actually that brings up a great question. Tell me a little bit about your vocation. We've had winners with backgrounds in education, even students. Tell us a little bit about what you do. I think it's
Yeah,
interesting that you're a writer.
yeah, I would say that for many writers out there, they have had a non-traditional journey to writing. So I would say I'm one of those people. In my heart, I have always been a writer, just not a very skilled one. When I first began my career, it was doing email marketing, social media, writing corporate memos, those sort of things. And I like to think that I was good at it, but there was always something missing. We were reaching for that art form in writing, the heart of it.
Mhm.
And after I had my little one, I had to do a lot of thinking. And, a pandemic always helps people to think when they are stuck in one place. And I started taking my wistfulness very seriously. And I sat down and said, I don't quite know how to do this, but I'm going to write a novel. And I did. And
And
I'm
what
so
novel?
Oh,
What book?
I wish I could tell you it was published. I wrote a novel that was inspired by my mother about a prize-winning rose grower and her friend that she lost a long time ago. And there's sort of a rivalry that is rekindled, and they're trying to reach for what is that thing that they lost in their friendship.
Sounds lovely. Thanks for sharing a little bit about your background, Katie.
Thank you.
So do you mind reading your Shijo to our audience?
I would love to read it for you. My shijo is called Grandmother's Hair. Your grandmother's hair held secrets, plaited into her crown, passed on to you as she braided, stories upon your scalp, echoes of ages in her fingertips, weaving laughter from faraway lands.
Hmm, that's beautiful. What inspired this?
Thank you for asking that. I've actually been working on another novel. It's been in my heart for a long time. It's based on a 12-year-old girl. She's the protagonist. Her name is Penny. And she reconnects with her grandparents over one summer when her parents realize that they live a few hours away, but they don't really know one another. And
Mhm.
she discovers that they have a magical family secret. And at the same time, she reconnects with the heritage that she never really knew that she had. And I only knew my one grandmother, and then by the time that I was old enough to know her, uh, she was not all there, unfortunately. And there were things that, as I'm going through writing this book, things I knew I would have loved to ask her had I known to ask her. And then
Mhm.
I also asked myself, would I have had the courage to ask her these things, these questions I have now as an adult? So
Mhm.
when I was writing this, I was thinking a lot about those intergenerational relationships, people that are still in our lives, maybe the people that are missing, but we still care about so deeply. And I wanted to write something for uh, someone who has a history of immigration, no matter where they are from, where they are today, where they came from. I think in a way we're all immigrants. We all came from somewhere, and there's a history that we're striving for, and it's so beautiful to reach for that and to share that with one another. So when I sat down to write this, which I almost did because I had entered the Sijo competition a few times, and I thought, well, I didn't place, I didn't do a good enough job. I'll leave it to someone else. But then I just felt really fired up also by not getting those wins before and having that inspiration in my heart. And I thought, I want to write this for other people, for their children, and for those grandparents, their ancestors. How does that feel? To appreciate, even if you have never met those people, that they have touched you in a way across time.
Absolutely, Katie, and so relatable, everything that you shared. Thank you so much. How difficult was it to take such an intricate kind of theme and boil it down to the Sijo style of writing?
Yeah, I would say that I started with those past attempts at writing Shijo. When I first discovered the Sejong Cultural Society and the website, they had such a wealth of information on Shijo. And my first thought was, how come I have never heard of this before? We've heard of haiku, and a lot of poetry has, unfortunately for poetry, has been kind of drummed into us that it has to be this way. But the way that the Sejong Cultural Society presented it, I thought was so fresh. They showed the history of it, the classical ones in translation, and then they showed such fresh modern ones and interpretations by people around the world, and not just adults, but also high school students who bring their own perspective from that stage in their life. So it felt very living, modern. It also felt a little bit more forgiving than to compare it again to the haiku. There's a structure, but it felt like there was a little bit of wiggle room. And I'm certainly not the expert on that, but it felt like there was more of you could experiment a little bit more. So from having that past practice from a couple of years ago, when I sat down to write it, I felt like it just came out more as music rather than counting out the syllables and the lines, which I did go back and do to make sure that was this working. But in the end, it was just, does this sound beautiful? And then I was happy with it after that.
Any pointers you can give to those listening who want to get started? They've written a few drafts. They're a little insecure about it. What piece of encouragement can you share?
Of course. Well, first off, that describes so many people. I think even the most successful writers are insecure about their work at some point. So I would just tell you to read as many other works of Shijo as possible. Again, the Sejong Cultural Society's website is such a great resource. I know there's a book as well. And share it with others. Just practice, and don't be mad at a poem that you feel is unsuccessful. Just try it in a few different ways. And because it's such a short form, I might even write down a couple of words that inspire you, sort of like a vision board, but with words, and see if you can string those together musically.
Great advice. Last question, Katie, your reaction. You said you had this isn't your first time applying for this contest. When you found out from the Sejong Cultural Society that you were the winner, how did that make you feel, and your thoughts around winning the 2022 Shijo contest?
If a poem can bring one a thrill, that is really how I felt. I felt so happy to have the work recognized and to be able to share it with other people. So very successful. I think my only disappointment is that I can't enter again next year. But I will be continuing to write Shijo, and I hope that everyone watching gives it a try as well.
And I bet you that Lucy and Ho and the board members of the Sejong Cultural Society would love to continue to read your writing and possibly put it on the website. So
that'd be great. And I'm so appreciative to them. Korean culture is just so absolutely beautiful, and maybe not enough people know about a lot of the history.
Well, thank you so much. Summed up so well. Appreciate your time. And for any of you listening who would like to enter into the contest for this year, make sure you go to the website and find us on social media as well. And Katie, if people want to reach out to you, I know you have a website. What is that?
I do. I'm at katieyen.com, and my social media handles are Katie Do Right. That's KatieDowrite.
All right. Thank you so much. And we hope to see more of your Sijo down the road.
Thank you.
Take care, guys. We'll see you later. Thanks so much for joining.